Hi everyone. I don't know how long this stream will be. I've been relatively, wouldn't say emotionless, but or stoic, but like, I knew it was coming, so that changed a lot about how I thought I would. It changed a lot about how I feel. My friend, my best friend, passed today, and shit, I cried the whole time. And we knew it was coming, and we all knew it was coming. My friend was an alcoholic because he didn't have any better coping skills to deal with the shittiest hand I've ever seen anyone get dealt with in their life. The shittiest hand. And it just never stopped. Never got easier. I don't want this to be happy. I'm sorry. But his he died of liver failure and ammonia in his brain, which apparently can happen when your liver fails and it can no longer filter out the chemicals that your body really shouldn't have floating around in there, and so they accumulate in your brain. And let me take a sip. But he had signs of end-stage liver failure for about 3 months now, 3 to 4 months. And I've skirted around the issue in a lot of ways on here for a lot of reasons. It was his business. My business as his friend wasn't relevant to anyone here because I don't think anyone here knew him. But skirting around, like in my conversation about like revealing like all the whips that I had, there was one that I didn't show for sentimental reasons because it was for him. And once I knew what was going on, I couldn't shake the feeling that the minute I finished it, he would pass. And so I didn't work on it. And I couldn't do anything else with the yarn. I couldn't get rid of it. I can't get rid of it. And so I'm going to finish it. I'm going to have it. My friend was one of a kind. And I don't think anyone's ever met him who would say that you'll ever meet another person like him. He was deeply spiritual and taught me so much in so many ways. I don't talk about my spirituality much, if any, on this channel. But Morris was deeply into Native, Indigenous, like American culture, having grown up in the Southwest after being adopted by a family, a U.S. family, He was from Latvia and really identified with the displacement of indigenous people and was so immersed in the culture living in the Southwest that he grew such a deep love and appreciation for them and their culture, and taught me so much about my life, about the way we are positioned in the universe. And my own spirituality is deeply informed by what I learned from him. He also helped me connect to my own native roots, which I do have. It's small, but it's there. And still important to me. Help me get out of some really dark places and just there'll never be another person like him. If you met him, your immediate reaction would probably be negative. He had this way about him that was so off-putting at first. I remember for I think his 19th birthday party, we and some friends of his did a roast of him, and it was a lot of fun. He always loved to laugh at his own expense and the expense of others. But every single person had a bad Morris first impression story. I remember when I met him, it was before I transitioned. I was in high school, and I was there was no gay straight alliance at my school. I grew up in a small town, and fairly conservative, not very conservative, fairly conservative. There's no gay straight alliance, and so I met a lesbian who was like, "Hey, I know this gay guy who could help us, rally the troops or whatever." And so I had seen this guy walking around. Morris often made his own clothes and accessories the old way. He would walk around in leather that he had stitched together by hand, covered in fringe, covered in jewelry. He's a gypsy by blood. And he stood out like a sore thumb in a small town. And you could not notice him. It was impossible. And so I remember what he was wearing when I first met him, his usual leather jacket with tons of fringe, tons of jewelry, hair swooped to the side. And my friend Jay, the lesbian I was talking about, said, "Hey, I want to introduce you to someone." They identified as a lesbian. They said they're lesbian, but whatever details now in hindsight. But Mars turned around, gave me one look, and went, "A fucking another one," and then turned right back around. That's just the kind of person Mars was. He almost had to rub people the wrong way when he first met them to see if they were gonna stick around, because people didn't always stick around for Mars. If you knew that about him, it made it all the much more sad. That's how he felt like he had to test you to see if you would stick around for his personality. Mars was abrasive, and he was truthful truthful, sometimes to the point where you're like, good God, can you soften the edges? Oh my gosh. But he was magnificent. And Mars was a psychic, and very deeply spiritual, and very deeply connected with things larger than I know. He knew things that, how would you know? And I didn't believe in psychics before Mars. I don't believe in most psychics now, but I knew that Mars knew shit that he couldn't have known otherwise. So Mars was a truly giving person. He gave all of himself to other people. But because of his abrasive nature, it often came off as cold and callous when he felt obligated to be honest, because he felt like people deserved that. And so he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, but Mars always knew. But Mars was so deeply loving and so fucking special. Mars knew everything about me. He knew things about me that I didn't know about myself. We've been friends for, let me see, I met him when I was 16. Now I'm 32. 16 years. I told him when I saw his alcoholism taking a turn, I saw his body start to deteriorate. I saw him pushing people away. I said, "You're not fucking pushing me away. I will be there until the end, and you can't fight that. I don't give a shit. I will fucking always love you." And I'm gonna do my best. It was hard. It was hard to watch him fucking drink himself to death. But I loved him. And I knew he was in so much pain, and I knew that he was doing what he was doing because he didn't have another solution. He couldn't see another solution. Saw all these bad things happen to him. I couldn't stop it. I couldn't protect him. I know that wasn't my job as a friend. You know, it's, you can only do what you can do. But I saw him go through abuse after abuse. I saw the toll that it took on him. And he just took it because he thought he deserved it. So I found out today, he passed today. Immediately, I called the tattoo shop that I've gone to. It was where I got my first tattoo. I asked them to squeeze me in. I knew exactly what I wanted. I wish I didn't have to get in today. I wish I had to get in 40 years. But his animal was the crow. And whenever we were so deeply connected, like on such a level that I'll never be able to describe. We could fucking read each other's thoughts. We could fucking, we had dreams about each other when we were each going through a hard time. We would know when to reach out because we just knew. The last time I was in treatment, I saw a crow, and I knew that Mars was thinking about me. Thank you, baby. So, but you're blocking my tattoo, and I really need you to know. We'll get to it in a second. You're very sweet. But His animal was a crow, which makes perfect sense for him. And so I knew what I needed to get. So I got this crow tattoo today because I love that fucker. I always will. I got as close to my heart as I could without making sure that it wasn't on any breast tissue for surgery purposes. And I'm gonna finish the poncho that I was gonna make him. I wish he could have worn it, but I was just too scared to finish it because I just felt like that was gonna be the end. I had such a strong feeling that if I did anything to it, it would be the last time I would ever see him. So he couldn't touch it. I hate crying on camera. This is so stupid. I'm sorry. Oh, this is so dramatic. I mean, I know death is fucking hard and sucks a lot, but I don't want this, and he wouldn't want this. But this is a granny stitch, and it's by Fiber Spider, and it's like a kimono style, so it'll like wrap around the front. I just couldn't touch it. I couldn't touch it. I couldn't move it though. I couldn't work on it. I couldn't do anything with the yarn. I couldn't be like, you know what? I'll never finish this. If I never finish this, I'll never die. I couldn't sell the yarn. And I have so many good memories with him. And I loved him so much. And for every flaw that he had 10 more things that were great about him that so many people just didn't see because he had such a high wall up. But I always saw through it. I always saw how much pain he was in. And when you love someone, the last thing you want for them is pain. And in the past couple of years, watching his body deteriorate. Sorry, I don't know what fucking tissue. Poor plant. I was like, I haven't cried all day. This is gonna be fine. No, it's not. It started crying immediately. So he Mars was always very clear to me that Mars just really lacked a lot of coping skills, and that's why he did what he did. And I hated watching it, and I tried to suggest things. He surrounded himself with abusers because he thought that that's what he deserved. People who, when I suggested things like therapy, would say, "Why would you trust Ian? Ian can't even get his own shit together." That is a fucking literal quote from his partner. Literal fucking quote. But it wasn't my business to tell Mars who he could love. It wasn't my business to tell him that having a roof over his head wasn't worth it because someone was abusing him. I'm so glad I got this tattoo. I didn't have to think twice about it. I don't think I'll ever have to think twice about it. Years ago, I went to the shop that had a lot of crystals and tarot cards and stuff. Mars taught me how to read tarot and a lot of other things too. Astrology. He just knew everything. He knew so much, not everything. And I saw this, and because he was the crow, I always have this with me. Not actually sure if it's a crow or raven, but I'm not really going to answer questions. If you want to rewatch, do the replay, then you can. But I can't. Like every time a person comes in, tell the story again. I'm sorry. Like I truly am sorry. I just can't do this. But at the end, to my knowledge, I was one of the only, if not the only, non-romantic person, non-family member that still talked to Mars. He pushed a lot of people away. A lot of people couldn't watch him kill himself. I understand that. It's fucking hard. Broke my heart time and time again to watch it. But I told him I'd be there till the end. Last time I talked to him was 2 weeks ago. We were going to get together and talk about leather because I wanted to start leather working. And like I said, Mars loved working with leather, and I thought that we could, leather work together. But we both knew he was working on a limited time frame. I was going to the leather shop. I told him we could maybe hang out after I came back, and I tried to get a hold of him, and I couldn't. That happens, so I just, let it slide, and we hadn't talked since, and then I see on Facebook that he's passed. And sucks. But I'm so thankful that he was my friend. I'm thankful for every second I got with him, even if it broke my heart at the moment, and even if it breaks my heart thinking back on all the times where I could have done better. So thankful for every second with him. And I wish so much that he got a better shot at happiness and a break from abuse. But that wasn't mine to control, unfortunately. I know he's there somewhere. But it's hard because, like, the first thing after I got my tattoo is I just wanted to drive over and show him. I couldn't. I'm really afraid that his partner and or parents might not respect his religious beliefs and perform uh, you know uh, 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 a like a burial that aligns with his beliefs. Again, something I can't control. That's okay. I know that I will perform my own ritual for him, something that I think he deserves. He deserves so much. He has the biggest heart. Oh, just this like terrible exterior. Oh my gosh, he was so abrasive and sometimes borderline mean, and you're like, dude, can you chill out just a bit? He just couldn't bowl his punches. It was all or nothing with Mars. Love the fuck out of him. Always will. He'll always be my best friend. He was gonna do the hand binding at my wedding, and he stopped being in contact right before the wedding. We couldn't figure out what was going on. He was married at the time. We found out that he had made an attempt and he was in the hospital later on. He deserves so much better. And I'm really sorry he's gone, but I'm really glad he's not paying anymore. I'm so glad. That's the biggest thing. I hate crying. Oh, fuck. But yeah, I felt like as many people as I can reach to tell about Mars, about how wonderful he really was, about how under that hard exterior he was so soft and in so much pain. He had such a big heart. And I think everyone deserves to know that side of him, and not that he was just asshole, because it was just protection for his own heart, which was so soft. So I would appreciate I'll read the comments like at a later time. I would appreciate if I didn't receive any like personal messages about this. I'm already receiving personal messages about this, and they make me really uncomfortable. I've shared way more than I needed to, but I shared what I wanted to, and I don't want to share anymore. And people are asking me for details. People who didn't barely know him at all. I just wanted to show you the Mars that deserved to be known, not the person that so many people knew him as. So, again, please no personal messages. Thank you.